Nobody expected this, not the automakers, not the analysts, and definitely not the millions of drivers who believed they knew which brands they could trust. But in one sudden release, Consumer Reports dropped a reliability ranking so explosive that it sent shockwaves through the global automotive industry. It wasn't just a list, it was a warning shot, a blunt message that the old rules are collapsing, the hierarchy is crumbling, and the brands we thought were untouchable may never look the same again. At the heart of the turmoil is a truth most drivers never realized. The auto industry is undergoing the biggest reliability shift in decades, and this year's results exposed the magnitude of that transformation. Long-time leaders stumbled, long-time underdogs surged. Electric vehicles didn't dominate. In fact, many of them faltered. And instead of the high-tech flagships stealing the spotlight, it was the humble, simpler models quietly rising to the top, a reversal that automakers can't afford to ignore. What makes this report so shocking isn't just who moved up or down, it's why. Behind the rankings is a deeper story: increasing software complexity, rushed technological innovation, shrinking testing cycles, and a widening gap between what brands promise and what they deliver. Consumer Reports didn't just evaluate engines and transmissions, they evaluated an era, a new age where cars have become rolling computers, and where a single glitch can matter more than a mechanical defect. And that's what sets the stage for one of the most dramatic shifts the automotive world has ever seen. Because buried inside the data is a clear message: the race for tech dominance is coming at the cost of reliability, and drivers are starting to push back. In this video, we're breaking down the full picture: the brands that fell from grace, the unexpected winners rewriting the rankings, the industry's growing reliability crisis, and the behind-the-scenes scramble happening in boardrooms across Japan, Europe, and the United States. From hybrid malfunctions to software meltdowns, from EV uncertainty to mechanical comebacks, this is the story that is reshaping how millions of people will choose their next vehicle. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear doesn't just redefine the 2025 reliability landscape, it redefines the future of every car on the road. Real quick, if you're into videos that cut through the noise and break things down clearly, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more people find this. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's a good time. We've got more deep dives coming your way. Also, drop a comment and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your take. Now on to the video. For decades, Toyota, Honda, and Lexus built reputations so solid that their reliability rankings seemed almost automatic. These brands didn't just lead Consumer Reports lists, they dominated them year after year with the kind of consistency other automakers could only dream of. Their formula was simple: bulletproof engineering, conservative design philosophy, and mechanical systems refined over decades. But this year, that formula cracked, and it cracked in a way nobody expected. The first major warning sign came from hybrid systems, long considered Toyota's crown jewel. Owners reported electrical control unit malfunctions, inconsistent battery management behavior, and rare but noteworthy sensor faults. What's concerning isn't the number of failures, it's the type. These aren't mechanical problems, they're software-linked issues, glitches emerging from increasingly complex hybrid platforms layered with digital components that didn't exist in older models. Honda wasn't spared either. While engines and transmissions remain rock solid, customers flagged infotainment freezes, lane assist misreads, and intermittent communication breakdowns between driver assist modules. These aren't dramatic failures, but they're disruptive enough for Consumer Reports to take note and to drop Honda several positions below where it traditionally sits. As for Lexus, the luxury brand famous for flawless craftsmanship, even they took a hit. Drivers reported unexpected behavior from adaptive suspension systems, occasional display malfunctions, and an uptick in electronic warnings tied to advanced safety features. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to tarnish what was once an unshakable reputation. So what happened? Industry insiders point to the same root cause: rapid digitalization. In the pressure to keep up with modern expectations, massive touchscreens, advanced ADAS systems, hybrid refinements, and seamless connectivity is pushing even the most disciplined companies beyond their comfort zones. Toyota's traditional development cycles, which once emphasized careful refinement, are being forced to accelerate. Honda's push into advanced driver technology is revealing weak points in early software versions. Lexus's integration of luxury tech systems is adding layers of complexity that didn't exist a decade ago. In short, these automakers aren't failing at engines or transmissions. They're stumbling in the digital arena. And this sudden vulnerability raises a bigger question that the industry didn't expect to confront so soon. If the most reliable brands in the world are struggling with modern tech, who, if anyone, can truly stay on top in the new automotive era? Because as we're about to see, the brands rising to replace them aren't who you'd expect. No one saw this coming. For years, Tesla carried a reputation that hovered somewhere between technological trailblazer and build quality disaster. Our panel gaps became memes. Misaligned trim became running jokes. And early owners frequently criticized build consistency, screen failures, and loose interior components. So when Consumer Reports revealed that Tesla had made one of the largest reliability leaps of any major brand, the automotive world was left stunned. But this wasn't magic, it was strategy. Tesla's shift began when the company recognized something traditional automakers still underestimated. Gained that modern reliability is no longer defined only by physical components, it's defined by software, and that's where Tesla quietly rewrote the rulebook. Instead of relying on dealership service networks or slow update cycles, Tesla doubled down on its biggest advantage: over-the-air software updates. The same way smartphones receive improvements without visiting a service center. The result? Tesla can diagnose, correct, and refine vehicle behavior in real time. This capability proved transformative. Recurring bugs in autopilot calibration, charging behavior, HVAC responsiveness, and even braking performance were gradually ironed out through incremental updates pushed directly to customers. A problem that would traditionally require a recall could be solved overnight, sometimes before owners even noticed anything was wrong. Tesla also made key improvements on the manufacturing side. Giga Texas and Giga Berlin introduced new quality control systems with more advanced automation, tighter tolerances, and revised supplier standards. More consistent assembly processes meant fewer mechanical fit and finish issues reaching customers. Consumer sentiment reflects the change. While early Tesla owners voiced frustration, more recent buyers report far fewer hardware failures and far more consistent performance across the board, and Consumer Reports took notice. Mechanical reliability still trails top Japanese brands, but software reliability, once Tesla's Achilles heel, is now one of its greatest strengths. The irony? The very digital complexity hurting Toyota, Honda, and Mercedes is the same arena where Tesla thrives. Because Tesla didn't have to retrofit technology into legacy platforms. It built its vehicles around software from the start. And now, as automotive reliability becomes increasingly defined by digital stability, Tesla's once mocked approach is suddenly looking like the blueprint of the future. But just as Tesla rises, something equally unexpected is happening. A wave of underdog brands are climbing upward as well, and their strategies couldn't be more different. While Tesla surged thanks to software-first innovation, a completely different group of automakers climbed the reliability charts using an opposite strategy: simplicity, refinement, and disciplined engineering. Mazda stands at the front of that pack. For years, Mazda operated quietly in the shadows of Toyota and Honda, never flashy, never loud, but always focused on one thing: consistent, well-built vehicles. Consumer Reports praise Mazda not for bleeding-edge tech, but for avoiding it when unnecessary. Their infotainment system, once criticized for being too simple, turned out to be more reliable because it wasn't overloaded with features. It's their engines and transmissions rely on proven architecture, leading to fewer internal failures and fewer warranty claims. In a world obsessed with digital upgrades, Mazda's slow, steady, and refined approach is suddenly winning again. Hyundai and Kia represent a different type of comeback, one built on ambition and global expansion. Once dismissed as budget brands, these automakers poured billions into R&D facilities in South Korea, Germany, and the United States. Their rapid quality improvements are the result of aggressive internal competition, strict supplier standards, and faster iteration cycles. Consumer Reports highlighted fewer drivetrain complaints, more durable components, and significantly improved manufacturing consistency. These brands aren't perfect, but they're closing the gap with Japanese automakers far faster than anyone predicted. Then comes the unexpected return of Buick, a brand often stereotyped as dated or irrelevant. Yet, Buick's lineup, especially its crossovers, exhibited some of the fewest software-related complaints among American brands. Why? Buick stuck to proven platforms and avoided the excessive digital features that plagued others. Their reliability rebound is a direct result of focusing on refinement rather than reinvention. These underdogs didn't climb the rankings because of revolutionary breakthroughs. They climbed because they understood something crucial. Newer is not automatically better. Where luxury brands chase complex tech, and where EV startups rush to market, fewer glitches, fewer electronics, more durabilities, fewer electronics, more durability, more consistency. And that's precisely why their rise is reshaping the competitive landscape. Because if the giants of Japan are stumbling and the luxury elites of Europe are faltering, then the industry's next major battle might come from brands nobody expected to threaten the throne. But while these underdogs are rising, a different story is unfolding in Detroit, one that could define the future of American EVs. As Mazda, Hyundai, and Kia quietly gain ground, Detroit's two biggest automakers, Ford and General Motors, are facing one of the harshest reliability wake-up calls in years. Consumer Reports' latest data hit both companies right in their most vulnerable area, their electric vehicle strategy. Ford's Mustang Mach-E, once hyped as Tesla's strongest rival, suffered widespread complaints about software instability, battery management issues, and problematic charging behavior. Owners reported vehicles refusing to start after updates, chargers disconnecting mid-session, and touchscreens freezing during navigation. These failures directly impacted Ford's reliability score and reinforced the idea that the brand pushed its flagship EV to market too quickly. GM didn't fare any better. The Chevrolet Blazer EV, intended to be a showcase of GM's Ultium platform, was criticized for similar problems: inconsistent charging speeds, software crashes, misbehaving sensors, and intermittent failures in driver assistance systems. For a company betting its future on electric mobility, these reliability issues couldn't have come at a worse time. What's driving this pattern? Insiders point to a combination of investor pressure, political expectations, and aggressive EV timelines. Ford and GM promised accelerated electrification, not because the technology was fully ready, but because the market demanded it. With deadlines looming, models were pushed forward before software systems had undergone sufficient real-world testing. That left consumers as the unwitting beta testers. The consequences have been brutal. Dealerships report a surge in EV service appointments. Engineers are being pulled off long-term development projects to troubleshoot existing models. Warranty costs are rising faster than projected. And in internal meetings, executives are questioning whether the rapid EV rollout may have gone too far too fast. But perhaps the most damaging part is perception. Consumer confidence in EV technology is fragile. One high-profile reliability failure can set back adoption trends for years, especially when drivers compare these glitch-prone EVs to older gasoline models that simply work. Ford and GM's struggles highlight a truth the industry is now forced to confront. Electrification is not just a hardware challenge, it's a software challenge, and Detroit's giants are not yet equipped to handle the digital complexity of their own vehicles. And as EV strategies wobble, another reliability threat is growing, not tied to any single brand, but to the entire industry. If there's one theme running through this year's Consumer Reports findings, it's this tech overload has become the industry's biggest weakness. Automakers spent the last decade racing to outdo each other in digital features. Bigger screens, smarter sensors, semi-autonomous functions, and full dash displays that replaced physical buttons entirely. But instead of offering stability, these features have become the top cause of reliability complaints across nearly every major brand. The most common issues aren't engines stalling or transmissions failing. They're software crashes, frozen infotainment systems, malfunctioning parking sensors, blind spot monitors going offline, lane keep assist systems, misreading road markers, and digital dashboards rebooting while the car is in motion. Consumer Reports highlighted that the majority of reported problems in 2025 involve technology that didn't even exist a decade ago. Luxury brands are among the most affected. BMW and Mercedes-Benz, long praised for engineering excellence, are now facing reliability declines tied to overly complex digital systems. BMW owners reported intermittent failures in adaptive suspensions, cameras refusing to activate, and digital dashboards blacking out unexpectedly. Mercedes drivers saw issues with MBUX, touchscreens freezing mid-drive or driver assist systems disengaging without warning. These repairs often cost thousands, and they're becoming increasingly common. Even mainstream brands are being dragged down by the same pattern. A single faulty camera can disable an entire parking system. One corrupted software file can shut down navigation, climate control, or even charging functions. And because today's vehicles rely on interconnected digital modules, one failing component can cause a cascade of errors that leave owners stranded. Automakers know what's causing the problem. Too much tech rolled out too fast. Features that should be optional have become standard. Systems that should require years of testing are being rushed into production cycles that barely last 18 months. The pressure to deliver futuristic dashboards and autonomous capabilities has pushed companies to release half-polished software, and the result? Drivers who paid premium prices are discovering that the smartest cars on the road are also the most fragile. Insurance companies have noticed too. Unreliable tech means more claims, from malfunctioning ADAS systems causing fender benders to touchscreen failures requiring expensive replacements. Premiums are quietly rising for tech-heavy models, further frustrating consumers. This growing tech reliability crisis has exposed a massive contradiction in the industry. Drivers love innovation, but they still expect consistency. Automakers promise both, but today they're delivering neither. And as digital complexity overwhelms the industry, something unexpected is happening in the background. Older, simpler vehicles are quietly returning to the spotlight. In one of the most surprising developments in this year's Consumer Reports rankings, older, simpler vehicles significantly outperformed tech-heavy modern models. Compact sedans, basic crossovers, and models built on long-standing platforms surged ahead. Not because of radical improvements, but because they didn't change much at all. Take the Toyota Camry. While Toyota struggled with hybrid software complaints across several models, the Camry, relying on refined, time-tested tech, delivered near-flawless reliability once again. Subaru's Outback and Forester earned similarly strong marks, not because they're cutting edge, but because they've prioritized mechanical consistency over digital flash. Owners of these vehicles report fewer frustrations. Buttons still work physically. Systems don't freeze. Safety features have been refined over years of real-world testing, and repairs, when needed, are straightforward and relatively affordable. This shift reveals a deeper trend. Consumers are rediscovering the value of fundamentals. In a market saturated with futuristic dashboards and overhyped autonomous claims, many drivers are turning back to vehicles that simply work. Vehicles that start every morning, drive without drama, and don't overwhelm buyers with unnecessary tech. The used car market is responding too. Models with proven dependability are experiencing surging resale values. Meanwhile, previously hot vehicles packed with new digital features are seeing steep depreciation as buyers grow wary of the risks. Even analysts are hinting at a possible retro correction in the industry, where automakers roll back excessive tech and focus again on core reliability. Some brands have already begun quietly scaling back their digital ambitions. Manufacturers are reintroducing physical buttons, simplifying infotainment interfaces, and prioritizing stability over showmanship. But this comeback isn't just about nostalgia. It represents a widening disconnect between what automakers think consumers want and what drivers actually value. Automakers believed buyers wanted the car version of a smartphone, but Consumer Reports confirms that what buyers really want is dependability, not digital drama. And as simple, older-style vehicles climb the charts, a much more serious problem is emerging beneath the surface. A growing collapse in global consumer trust. Reliability problems aren't just damaging vehicles, they're damaging trust. And this year, Consumer Reports triggered a global reckoning that automakers can no longer ignore. Across the United States, Europe, and Asia, drivers are beginning to question the honesty, transparency, and competence of the brands they once believed in. The tipping point wasn't any single vehicle. It was the realization that failures are happening everywhere, from mainstream models to luxury flagships, from EV startups to legacy giants. When Toyota, Honda, Mercedes, Ford, BMW, and GM all show signs of reliability strain in the same year, consumers start asking a dangerous question. If none of the major brands are consistently reliable, who can I trust? That question is rippling across social media. TikTok mechanics are posting videos exposing hidden issues, Reddit threads are filled with repair horror stories. YouTube reviewers are documenting recurring failures that dealerships dismiss as normal. What used to be private frustration is now public knowledge. And Consumer Reports just validated millions of those complaints in one report. EV startups are facing the harshest backlash. Rivian, Lucid, Polestar, and others once marketed themselves as the future of mobility. But owners report door handles that don't open, screens that reboot while driving, charging ports that fail to latch, and software that breaks after updates. These aren't minor annoyances. They're trust killers. Luxury brands are suffering too. BMW and Mercedes customers are demanding answers about why $80,000 vehicles are plagued with the same digital glitches found in cars half the price. When premium brands can't guarantee premium consistency, loyalty collapses fast. Meanwhile, dealerships are caught in the middle. Service centers are overwhelmed. Warranty claims are up. Customers are frustrated, and sales teams are struggling to explain why last year's model performed better than this year's updated one. Automakers feel the pressure. Behind closed doors, executives from Japan to Germany to Detroit are holding emergency meetings, delaying product launches, and reassigning engineers to fix critical flaws. The panic is real because the consequences are real. Declining trust means declining sales, collapsing resale values, and shrinking market share. And the most damaging part, trust doesn't return quickly. Once a brand is labeled unreliable, it can take years, sometimes a decade, to recover its reputation. Consumer Reports didn't create this trust crisis. It exposed it loudly, clearly, and publicly. But the story doesn't end here. Behind the reliability failures and the consumer backlash lies an even deeper issue, one that could redefine what reliable means for the next generation of vehicles. Consumer Reports didn't just publish another ranking this year, it issued a warning, a wake-up call that the global automotive industry can no longer ignore. The old reliability hierarchy has fractured. The brands once seen as invincible are now exposed. The newcomers once dismissed as irrelevant are now rising, and the rules that defined automotive reliability for decades have been rewritten almost overnight. The central message is unmistakable. Technology raced ahead, but quality control didn't follow. Automakers poured resources into bigger screens, more sensors, and advanced driver systems, believing these features would define the future. Instead, the rush to innovate has created a reliability crisis, with digital failures now outpacing mechanical ones across nearly every major brand. The consequences are already unfolding. Customers are losing trust. Dealers are overwhelmed. Service centers are crowded with software-related repairs, and investors are watching closely, knowing that consumer perception can shift markets faster than any engineering breakthrough. But hidden within the chaos is a path forward, a roadmap Consumer Reports didn't just criticize, but implicitly highlighted. The brands performing best today are the ones that respected fundamentals, Mazda, Subaru, and Buick, which focused on refinement rather than gimmicks. Tesla, which built a software-first ecosystem capable of self-correcting. Toyota and Honda, still strong mechanically, but now pressured to modernize carefully rather than aggressively. The message is clear. Reliability isn't about choosing between innovation or simplicity. It's about balancing the two. Cars don't need to be stripped of technology. They need technology that works consistently, predictably, and safely. And that's where the industry stands today, at a crossroads. Automakers must decide whether to slow down, stabilize, and rebuild trust, or continue pushing boundaries at the risk of alienating the very customers they depend on. Consumer Reports has shown them the consequences of ignoring reliability: lost sales, falling resale values, and reputational damage that can take years to undo. For drivers, this report is more than a list of rankings. It's a reminder to look deeper, question marketing claims, and prioritize proven dependability over flashy features. Because in the end, the most advanced car in the world means nothing if it can't be trusted on the road. This moment may be remembered as the turning point, the year the automotive industry finally hit pause, looked in the mirror, and asked a hard question: are we building cars for real people, or are we building them for headlines? And the brands that can answer that honestly will shape the future of transportation. Once again, thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of this, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. And hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree, or something in between? I'd love to hear it.